side of your shirt, right? So if this is the right side, I usually turn it right side out, and then pin your so when you have your collar ready and together and you wear it, this interfaced side, remember on the collar we interfaced only one piece, not both. Some of you did both, so it will make that easier for you. And that's how mass production works, because we don't want to leave chances for making mistakes, so they just like interface with lightweight interfacing both the pieces. But if you have only one piece interfaced, and when you're wearing your shirt, your collar interfaced piece should roll back like this, so this will
on the
look
outside.
more finished.
Oh, okay.
No, it's-
Right?
Yeah, but just, it's sounding like you're saying it's on the interfacing
Right.
is on the top part of the outside. There's two sides.
When you're wearing it, so when
When
your
you're wearing
collar is rolled back,
Right.
Like this.
your interfacing piece should be, interfaced piece should be out.
Yeah, when you
It's
finish
facing
looking at it,
us.
it's
Right?
out, yeah.
So which means it needs to be on the outside or the inside of the shirt?
Inside of the garment.
Inside of the shirt. So which means if you
So that's the
keep
right side.
your collar just like this and you have it sewn like this, now your interfaced piece is inside. So, and if it is sitting like this, that means you're holding the right side up, right? So interfaced collar piece needs to be up. Okay. So then that means we are gonna have interfaced piece to the outside of the interfaced stand piece to the outside of the neckline.
Okay,
That's the one way to do it, right?
okay.
And if you did both interface pieces, it doesn't matter.
Then it's,
That's right.
then it doesn't matter,
Okay,
right?
I'm not sure. Yeah, mine are both.
Extra crispy.
Yeah, I wanted to be
I think,
that color.
yeah.
There you go, pop it.
So it doesn't matter.
I'm gonna do that, but that's not the point.
Yep. So we can sew, usually what people do is, or the way book is gonna show you the technique is to pin, and that's what I did, Roseanne, on your shirt as well, that you will start pinning from the right side and then you will turn it over, hand baste it, and then you stitch from this side. But sometimes, because this side is going to be more visible when you're wearing it, that kind of creates problems. So sometimes people like to work on this side first. So it's up to you what you want to do, but I'm going to just show you the book technique so that we can all follow the same instructions. And then if you have a different technique that you have used before, then that's fine too. What I'm trying to say is that I won't hold it against you.
Do you like the book technique the most, or what technique do you use?
When you
I have
say-
used both ways. Honestly, I decided based on the wing stands,
Another word.
collars and
left
stands.
sleeve or
So
right
they have
sleeve, yeah.
worked on it enough that you shouldn't need to hand baste. And if you're sitting there hand basting, you're fired.
I look at it this way, I've made mistakes on that enough that
Don't you,
by the
don't
time I
they usually
actually
just do one thing? Because
finish
my mother
that.
worked for Lee,
I
a
know
jean
not-
company, and all she did was put in the
That's
box.
trial and
Yeah.
error.
That's all she
how
did
we
all day,
learn.
put in the box.
Learning the
Yeah,
hard
somebody who's doing this
We all done
outseam is just doing outseam on thousands of them. So you don't need to even, they won't even pin these pieces together. They just know where to start and where to finish, and
Plus
boom.
those machines they use probably just kind of go along the edge a lot of times of some of these some of these garments.
where it's just surged.
Yeah, especially,
Yeah,
especially,
yeah, overlapping. All right, so how to pin this is a little bit tricky. Okay, so start with the center back notch on the shirt to the stand. All right, and then there should be another notch right here, somewhere halfway. That will align to your shoulder seam right here. And then this will align to the edge will align to the edge. The edge of the stand will align to the edge of the placket that you have in the front, all right? This stand is made to this neckline, but sometimes when you're pinning it, it might look like it's off. So, see? Visually, it looks like it's big right here, right?
Yeah.
But it really is not. Maybe when I was stay stitching, I might have puckered the neckline just enough to make my stand like a 1/4 inch too big now, right? So what I do is, if it's just this much, I wouldn't worry too much about it and go back and manipulate and ease it in. All right? I mean, unless that it's 1/2 inch or an inch or 2 inches, then
Seems
you
to be
can't,
my issue.
right? Then you really can't work with it. So just start with the center back notch. The side notches are gonna be pinned to your shoulder, and then pin the edge to the edge, and then try to work in between if there is like a minor issue.
Or major.
If you have a major issue, I'm sorry, good luck. You're gonna have to redraft your pattern or your whole shirt.
Yeah. Sometimes you get, you know, some
Just trim
oopsies
a
aren't
little
repairable, you have to redo.
So what we need to do when we are pinning this, you have to remember that you cannot really align this corner to the corner. The corner of the stand, since it's angled, it's gonna go farther down, but as long it's, these edges are meeting up where your seam
At the
allowance,
seam,
your seam
right.
line is.
You're
then
matching the
you're good.
seam, not the edges, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way, but
Okay, wait,
50
explain
years,
that again?
50-something years ago.
So when you have this,
Mm-hmm,
right, if you align it right here,
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
and my seam is supposed to
Like
be right
that,
here,
something.
okay.
then of course it's not gonna match up if
As long
there's
as
any
the
big gap,
seam
right?
works together.
So this might have to extend just a tiny bit. I have 1/4 inch seam allowance, so 1/4 inch in from this edge, these edges should match up.
Gotcha, okay.
Got it?
Yeah, that might be some of your problem too. But
And
then
that sometimes can make it look like your collar
Yeah,
or
you
your
get so
stand
frustrated,
measures a
yeah.
little bit off, but it might not be, right? Now this is all good. Now when you sew, are you gonna sew with having your shirt up or your stand up?
stand up.
For me, I'd do the stand up.
yeah.
Stand up, right?
Because
Because
it's kinda
stand
good, yes, I
is
could
a
tell.
straighter edge and your neckline is a curved edge. If you keep the curved edge on top, you tend to stretch the material with your hands. That's like just a natural tendency because the material is gonna stick to your hands. But if you keep the stand up, one, it's interfaced, it's tighter, it's gonna be more stable, it won't stretch out of place. And two, feed dog will keep this material, underneath material, the neckline, moving.
Plus you pinned on that side, so that was a good clue.
Of course.
Jamie, is your neck piece too small or too big?
All right, so 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm gonna make sure that 1/4 inch in these, there's like a little triangle you're gonna see, so I will, do you need to come closer and take a look at this?
I know that.
So it's gonna look like it's not matching, but if 1/4 inch in, these edges are matching up, then you're good. So don't try to slide it over to match them up.
Oh, okay, see.
As long it's matching up right here where I'm gonna sew, then you're good.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And when you're sewing these, if you want to take a closer look right here, I have my seam allowances tucked under. So I'm gonna sew right here on top of the seam allowances.
I don't know, to me, I'll look in a second.
And start your seam right at the seam that you have on the stand. The hardest part is to start your seam end to end, to making sure that your edges are matching up and your material didn't move. Rest is easy.
We do backpack there.
Any permanent seam that you're not gonna take out, it's not basting.
Love the sound of
think
that
I did
every
that.
time I see it.
So right here, if you feel, you will have folds. Don't sew those folds in, okay? That's because this piece is curved and you're trying to straighten it as you're sewing it, so it's gonna bunch underneath, right? So don't sew those.
Get underneath
Flatten
them,
these up.
flatten them out, okay.
So just right here for these, Make sure that there's no fold underneath that you're sewing.
Otherwise you'll be finding your seam ripper.
Otherwise, have your seam ripper ready.
Redo.
Yep. Exactly.
But that's okay. That's how you learn. How long did it take you to get used to that machine so it wouldn't go so fast? Or you just had
Not
experience
that
with that
long.
type?
Not that long. Now that I sew on this machine, I cannot sew on the home sewing machines.
Really? You spoiled it?
Too slow.
I am. All right, the same thing here. I'm gonna finish my seam right at the seam. You know how that I had that seam? Tucking my seam allowances under. You can hand wheel your machine if you want to.
I used to be nervous if I just...
All right. So now this is the wrong side out of the shirt. Just make sure it turned out okay everywhere. Your seam allowance is even, right? And then what are we gonna do next?
Fold over